Exactly how to determine cognitive predisposition, 12 examples of cognitive bias. Cognitive predispositions are inherent in the method we assume, and also a number of them are unconscious. Recognizing the prejudices you experience as well as purport in your daily interactions is the first step to recognizing exactly how our mental procedures work, which can assist us make better, a lot more informed choices. What is cognitive predisposition? A cognitive prejudice is a strong, preconceived notion of a person or something, based on information we have, regard to have, or lack. These prejudgments are mental shortcuts the human brain creates to quicken data processing to rapidly help it understand what it is seeing. The many sorts of cognitive biases work as methodical mistakes in an individual's subjective mindset, which stem from that person's very own assumptions, monitorings, or perspectives. There are different kinds of predisposition individuals experience that impact and also influence the means we believe as well as behave, as well as our decision-making process. How does cognitive prejudice affect the method we think? Prejudices make it challenging for people to trade accurate information or derive truths. A cognitive predisposition distorts our vital reasoning, bring about potentially perpetuating misconceptions or false information that can be damaging to others. Predispositions lead us to stay clear of details that may be unwanted or uneasy, as opposed to checking out the information that could lead us to a more precise outcome. Biases can likewise create us to see patterns or links between concepts that aren't always there. 12 examples of cognitive bias. There are numerous typical cognitive predispositions that people exhibit. Some instances of usual predispositions are: 1. Confirmation bias. This kind of prejudice describes the tendency to seek info that sustains something you currently believe, and is an especially destructive subset of cognitive prejudice. You keep in mind the hits and forget the misses, which is a flaw in human thinking. Individuals will certainly sign into things that matter to them, as well as disregard the important things that do not, typically bring about the ostrich impact, where a subject buries their head in the sand to avoid info that might negate their initial point. 2. The Dunning-Kruger effect. This particular prejudice refers to exactly how people regard an idea or occasion to be simplistic, even if their understanding concerning it may be simple or lacking. The much less you understand about something, the much less challenging it may appear. This kind of predisposition limitations curiosity. People do not really feel the demand to further explore a principle, because it appears simple to them. This predisposition can additionally lead individuals to think they are smarter than they really are, since they have actually lowered a complex idea to a simplistic understanding. 3. Ingroup bias. This kind of predisposition describes how people are more likely to sustain or believe a person within their own social group than an outsider. This prejudice tends to remove objectivity from any sort of choice or hiring process, as we have a tendency to prefer those we directly recognize as well as want to assist. 4. Egoistic bias. A self-centered bias is an assumption that good ideas occur to us when we've done all the right points, yet bad points happen to us due to scenarios outside our control or things other people purport. This predisposition causes a tendency responsible outdoor circumstances for bad circumstances instead of taking personal obligation. 5. Schedule bias. Understood as the accessibility heuristic, this prejudice refers to the tendency to make use of the information we can promptly remember when assessing a subject or idea, also if this information is not the best depiction of the topic or concept. Utilizing this psychological faster way, we deem the details we can most conveniently remember as legitimate, and also overlook alternate solutions or viewpoints. 6. Fundamental acknowledgement bias. This predisposition refers to the tendency to attribute someone's particular habits to existing, unfounded stereotypes while attributing our very own similar actions to external elements. For example, when somebody on your group is late to a vital conference, you might assume that they are lazy or lacking inspiration without considering internal and exterior factors like a disease or traffic mishap that led to the tardiness. Nevertheless, When you are running late due to a flat tire, you anticipate others to associate the error to the external factor, puncture, instead of your individual behavior. 7. Hindsight bias. Hindsight bias, additionally referred to as the knew it all along effect, is when individuals view occasions to be extra predictable after they happen. With this prejudice, individuals overstate their ability to forecast a result ahead of time, although the details they contended the moment would certainly not have led him to the right result. This sort of predisposition happens usually in sporting activities as well as world affairs. Hindsight bias can result in insolence in one's capability to forecast future end results. 8. Securing bias. The anchoring predisposition, additionally known as focalism or the anchoring result, pertains to those who depend also greatly on the first piece of details they get an anchoring truth as well as base all subsequent judgments or opinions on this reality. 9. Optimism bias. This bias refers to just how we as human beings are more likely to estimate a positive result if we remain in a great state of mind. 10. Pessimism bias. This prejudice describes exactly how we as humans are more probable to estimate a negative end result if we are in a bad mood. 11. The halo impact. This bias refers to the tendency to permit our impact of an individual, firm, or service in one domain name impact our overall impression of the individual or entity. As an example, a consumer who delights in the performance of a microwave that they purchased from a details brand is most likely to acquire other products from that brand because of their favorable experience with the microwave. 12. Status predisposition. The status quo predisposition describes the choice to keep things in their present state, while concerning any kind of modification as a loss. This bias causes the difficulty to process or accept adjustment.